Every single week, I get people asking me how to get started in real estate investing and how to buy an investment property. So here are 5 ways you can buy your first income-producing rental property. It seems like everyone who I've ever spoken to wants to get involved in real estate investing in some capacity. All too often, I'll get a DM, a text, or an email about how do I buy my first investment property? And now this is an extremely loaded question where I could go say a bunch of things, and that's what I used to do. I used to spend a lot of time reaching out to people and helping them with this question. But instead I figured I'd make a YouTube video, so at least instead of me giving you all this information and then you immediately ghosting me, you can at least give me some watch hours and maybe subscribe, comment, and like to my YouTube channel to help it grow. In this video, I'm just going to talk to you guys about 5 different ways that you can get involved in buying your first investment property. I'm not going to talk about different ways to finance those projects, and I'm not going to talk about partnerships or other strategic ways to get involved in real estate investing. It seems like there are a number of ways to get involved in real estate investing or buying an investment property. There's flipping, there's wholesaling, there's buy and hold, there's BRRRRs, there's all of these different things that you've potentially heard about, so you're running through your mind, which strategy should I take up? So let's jump into 5 ways that you can buy your first investment property. The first way that you can buy an investment property, and the most traditional way, would be very similar to how you would buy your single family home. So you could go out, buy a home, whether it's a multifamily 2 to 4 unit building or a single family building, use a real estate agent, and do traditional conventional financing. Now, instead of going to live in that property with you and your family, you just buy the property, you are the owner, you fix it up, you rent it out, and you immediately start getting rental income. The way this works is pretty simple. You go find the property the same way you would buy any house, and then you put 25% down, because if it's an investment property and you're not living in it, you have to put at least 25% down. Now, there are other ways and other loans that may be a little bit different where you can put maybe 20% down, but most typically when you're buying an investment property that is a full investment property and you're going through bank financing, you have to put at least 25% down. So it's possible that you could buy one of these properties either tenanted or vacant, and it's potential that you could buy a property that needs a lot of work that you could fix up before you rent out, or you can list the apartments for rent immediately and go rent them out and then start collecting your rental income. The second way that you can get involved in buying a rental property would be through house hacking. Now, I'm a huge proponent of house hacking. I'm actually currently sitting in one of my house hacks right now. And if you're unfamiliar with what that is, check it out up here or in the description below. But pretty simply, you're gonna buy a 1 to 4 unit residential building. And you're gonna occupy one of the bedrooms or one of the units and then rent out all of the excess space. And hopefully all of that excess space covers your mortgage and more. Now, the reason you do this instead of putting 25% down through traditional financing like I talked about in option number 1 is when you're house hacking or owner occupying the home that you intend to buy, you can put as little as 3% down for a condo or a single family, or 3.5% down for a multifamily home. House hacking is awesome, especially in an expensive market, because you can put a lot less money down and buy a lot more house and get your money to work really hard for you. If you put 3.5% down on a multifamily property versus 25% down, that 3.5% down is gonna work a lot harder. Now, yes, obviously your loan amount will be a lot higher and there's primary mortgage insurance involved, but you can get your money to do a lot more for you than if you were just buying a traditional investment property. Plus, you get a place to live in for free. The third way that you can get involved in buying an investment property would also be through an owner-occupied route, but buying a vacation property. Now, everyone's extremely interested in Airbnb these days because it can earn you a lot more income than if you were just buying a traditional investment property. Short-term rentals get a lot more money than a long-term tenant might pay. However, there's a lot more headaches and a lot more turnover and a lot more things that you have to take care of than when you're utilizing a long-term rental and you just have one tenant to worry about. So for this vacation rental owner-occupied home, you're able to put 10% down. Now, don't quote me on this. Please do your own research, talk to a lender, and it's obviously dependent on what area that you're in. From my understanding, you're able to qualify for that 10% down payment if you intend to occupy the property for more than 10 days of the year. Now, if we have a vacation home that we visit a few times a year, or maybe it's in a warm climate and it's the winter and we want to go see it, most of us will probably go visit that place more than 10 days of the year. And being able to put 10% down, again, is a lot less than that 25% down. Now, when you're not occupying the property or on vacation, you can utilize that property and Airbnb it out. One word of precaution that I'll give if you're interested in buying an Airbnb or a short-term rental is that make sure that the numbers when you're underwriting your property would also work as a long-term rental. Airbnb has come under a lot of scrutiny in various towns, and laws can be changing, and all of a sudden something that you thought was legal and you're allowed to utilize as an Airbnb property gets changed under town ordinances. Now, if you don't want this to happen, make sure that you buy an Airbnb in a town or a vacation area where the laws of Airbnb are already in place. If the laws are already in place, there's going to be a lot less likelihood of the laws changing in that area because it is so well established for Airbnbs and vacation renters. The fourth thing that you can do is get involved in syndication. Now, if you're not familiar with the syndication, I don't have a video on it yet, but that's basically when you are a passive investor in a property and you go ahead and give your money to a syndicator or the deal operator, the deal provider, the person who's actually doing the work. So this person will go buy an apartment building, or maybe they're a developer and they're building something from the ground up, or they're taking a small multifamily and turning it into a condo, and they need a lot of funds in order to get going. So what they do is they pool funds from a variety of people, and in exchange, you get a small stake or a bit of equity in the property, as well as monthly cash flow. This is easily the most passive way to get involved in real estate investing. But if you plan on doing this, make sure that you know the deal provider and that you actually know what the deal is that you're getting involved in. Just like anything you invest your money in, you need to know exactly what's going on and how the payment schedules are working and when you're giving the money and what your money will actually be doing and when you'll get some back. Syndications work really well if you're an individual who's a high earner that doesn't have a lot of time. Potentially you're a lawyer or a doctor and you don't have the time to run your own project or give all of the attention that a project may need, or a rehab, or to tenants. Even if you have a property manager, there's still a lot of things that can go on. With a syndication, you're handing over your money in expectation for a solid return on your investment. If the syndicator is doing a good job in finding a good building that will give you a good return on your investment, you'll potentially earn more money than you would in the stock market if you were just investing in low-cost index funds. The only bad thing about a syndication is once your money's in the syndication, so if you've given money to buy an apartment complex, you can't really take it out. You still get your monthly cash flow and you have your stake of equity, but it's not the same way as selling shares of a stock. Your money is in that project, in that property, until the syndicator has decided to sell. And typically because of tax implications, that building is sold after 5 to 7 years before the syndicator will take more money and pool more money and buy a different one. The fifth and final way that you could get involved in obtaining your first investment property would be to take your primary residence, move, and rent it out. Now, many people don't love this idea because it's a home that they've been living in and something that they don't envision tenants moving into. But if you already have this really great asset and the numbers will work for you renting it out, it could be an extremely viable option rather than going out and funding a down payment or finding a property when you're not as totally familiar with what's going on. If you can take your single family home and move out and then rent it, there are a whole lot less steps involved if you want to get your first rental property off the ground and running. As I mentioned, there are many different ways that you can get involved in real estate investing. These were just 5. And if you want me to dive a little bit deeper into any of these 5 ways to get involved in real estate investing, please put that in the comments below and I'll happily make the video. And now I also didn't talk about different ways that you could finance these properties, but I pretty much just said that you would be utilizing your own money. And there's a lot more ways that you can do this than just putting your own money towards these down payments. So if you're interested in hearing about that kind of stuff, please let me know, drop it in the comments, and also like the video because you want to help me out. I hope this video helped you guys out, and I hope it helps me out continue living my mantra of getting paid more to do less. That's really how I'm trying to set up my life. And now I'm going to be able to send you this video instead of writing a long, detailed message back about how to get started in real estate investing or buying your first investment property. Thanks again for watching and hope to see you guys next time.